We've learned the scope of government fraud investigations in Minnesota could exceed $1 billion.
Hello, everyone. Let's talk about something serious today in this video. When we hear the words government fraud, we think that that's politics and it's really not our problem. But here's the truth. If fraud happens in government, especially involving public money, it absolutely affects you, your neighborhood, your rent or mortgage, and even the value of your home. So let's break it down in this video step by step. When the government mismanages money, or worse, steals it, people lose faith. And when people stop trusting local leaders, they also stop trusting the programs that's meant to help them. And that can have a serious effect in the local real estate market, and it also diminishes the sense of community confidence. So imagine this, you're a first-time home buyer in Minnesota trying to apply for down payment assistance. But suddenly, you hear that there was fraud in the housing program last year. Now there are delays, more red tape, and even fewer funds to fund the programs. In this situation, buyers get nervous and they tend to delay the home buying process. In this situation, sellers will see fewer offers and less traffic on their homes, and in return, see fewer offers.
Feeding Our Future, New Way Alliance, Autism Centers, and now the Federal Housing Stabilization Investigation. All of them significant government fraud cases, some still under investigation, others already prosecuted.
So where did the money go? Let's talk dollars. If fraud pulls millions or even just thousands out of the state's budget, guess what? That money has to come from somewhere else. Maybe it was meant for affordable housing, or repairs to public housing, or even grants for first-time home builders. When the money is missing, programs shrink, projects get canceled. Now take that and multiply that across the entire city or even the county. That's less housing supply, and less supply means higher demand. And higher demand means higher prices, simple economics. Budget cuts and broken promises. When fraud hits, the state may be forced to cut budgets all across the board to make up for it. Housing, education, public transit, and even emergency shelters. Now imagine you're a developer looking to build a small affordable housing complex. You're counting on state incentives or land grants, but now the funds are frozen or they're gone. So you just walk away from the project. Multiply that by dozens of builders. Now Minnesota has fewer homes being built, even though demand keeps climbing. Big red flag, credit ratings. Next up is credit ratings. If a state is known for poor financial management or fraud, its credit rating can drop. That means that the state has to pay more to borrow money for big projects, like affordable housing developments or infrastructure to support new neighborhoods. Higher borrowing costs equals fewer projects equals fewer homes. Loss of federal funds. This is a big one. If the fraud involves federal money, say from HUD or disaster relief, the feds can actually pull the plug on future funding. That money is meant to help low-income families, build senior housing, and protect renters from eviction. Without it, these programs will vanish. People slip through the cracks, and housing instability grows fast. Investors and developers get spooked. If Minnesota gets a reputation for corruption or mismanagement, real estate investors start to back off. Nobody wants to put millions into a project if zoning permits or grants can be tied up in these shady politics. Developers start to stall and cancel builds. Private money dries up. The result, fewer homes come to the market. And yes, again, higher prices and more bidding wars for regular folks like you and me. Real example, Feeding Our Future scandal.
The U.S. Attorney for Minnesota says the group Feeding Our Future, led by Amy Bach, stole $250 million of federal COVID money meant to feed children in need.
Let me give you a real-world example. You may have heard of the Feeding Our Future scandal here in Minnesota, where millions of federal food aid was stolen through fake nonprofits during the pandemic. Now, while that wasn't directly tied to housing, it caused a huge public outrage, investigations into state oversight, and major mistrust on how public funds were handled. Imagine if something like this happened in our housing department. The public would panic, and the housing market, well, could absolutely feel the shockwaves. So I'm gonna wrap it up with why all this matters. Government fraud isn't just a headline, it's a domino effect. It chips away at funding, trust, and growth, and that always touches housing. Whether you're buying, renting, or investing, fraud in state government can and will affect your wallet, your home, and your future. So stay informed, stay vocal, and push for transparency, because housing security starts with accountability. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.